Welcome to Heroes for Sale, the show which likes to explore geeky and comic culture. And we'd also like to delve deeper into the worlds of counterculture. And this week we're going to achieve just that because we've got two horror experts with us. And we're going to be discussing a preview of Liverpool Horror Festival, which, Ilan, you're the main organiser for, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm one of two people who are running the whole thing.
Yes.
And it's going to be on the 15th of the 8th at the Casimir.
Can you just paint a little bit more of the background for why people should come? Obviously, horror fans, they can see lots of things that they're into.
Yeah, well, the event itself, it's a showcase of everything that there is to like about the horror genre. So you're going to have specialists that work in it. So you've got authors, you've got actors, directors, but also artists and creatives who either work in or around the horror genre itself.
So it's bringing everybody from the community under one roof.
I mean, Liverpool has a lot of scattered communities, horror communities around Liverpool. So this is an opportunity for all of them to get under one roof and all have a good time.
Yeah, and we've got James here with us from Jumpscare. He's also part of Liverpool's horror community. Can you just tell us a little bit about what Jumpscare is?
Yeah, as you pretty much put it before, counterculture, we like to cover all aspects of it. So movies, games, literature, and music as well. And as Ilan pointed out there before, with getting everyone under one roof, we're going to be doing our best to help you with that, as Liverpool's kind of lacking in that area.
So you're looking forward to it as well, because we've got some quite high-profile names. We've got Bobby Wilde from Hellraiser.
Yeah, Bobby.
And that's going to be a good thing, isn't it? She's obviously sitting on a couple of panels. You were telling me before the show.
Yeah, well, there'll be quite a few kind of Q&A panels and opportunities for people to talk about things. But she's going to be on the Hellraiser panel with a lot of guests. But also she's going to be on a literary panel because she's written a book, Venus Complex. So, yeah.
Which is great, because as well as her literary prowess, she's actually quite a fox, isn't she, underneath all the makeup? So she draws a crowd, does she?
She's, whether she wants to or not, she's the face of the S&M community, I suppose. Hellraiser has that kind of visual style. Am I blushing? I love you, Barbie.
I'm just not coming around to you again for the foreseeable future.
But no, she is a beautiful, beautiful person as well. And she's a fantastic person as well. She's so fun and she loves talking about this. And I think she's swept away with the fan base behind the Hellraiser films as well. And
so with her book, Venus Complex, is she going to be talking people through her creative process?
Yeah. Well, again, it's a Q&A panel, but so people had the opportunity to throw the questions out there themselves. So anybody who's thought about writing horror have a chance to talk directly to the horror authors. Yeah. I mean, one of the other big kind of guests that we've got on the literary panel is Ramsey Campbell, who's Liverpool's kind of like huge horror author and the most decorated horror author in the world.
Because that's what it is for me. I mean, I'm not really much of a massive horror fan, so I was going to say, for the average punter, does Liverpool need a horror festival? And of course, you'll have something to say about that, right? I mean,
definitely. There's so many things, like I said, already happening around Liverpool. I mean, we've got Shiverpool, we've got Farmageddon, and other events happening all over the place. And there's people who do podcasts, and there's people who write about it. And through promoting the Liverpool Horror Fest, we've been going around to places like the Siphon Teacup, for example, who, when we chat to them, they say how much they love the horror community and that they write about it as well. So
yeah, well, you were saying as well, weren't you, James, that it's got a strong base in Liverpool. It's got a strong draw.
Well, that's it. It's like, unlike other conventions, maybe, what Ilan's done, he's give it a strong foothold within Liverpool as well. Obviously, Hellraiser, created by Clive Barker, from Liverpool, and it kind of goes hand in hand with how people from Liverpool are obviously very proud of the city, and there's a lot to offer within that community, and no one's really done it yet. So
yeah, so it's a good chance to put Liverpool on the horror. You put a flag down on the horror map, really. And some of the other people who come in, Lawrence Harvey, Human Centipede, that's gonna draw some people.
Yeah, that was exciting. I mean, I love the Human Centipede trilogy and basically what it represents, because it kind of came out absolutely nowhere as an independent film, and it became like very quickly a part of pop culture. But the second film was a very, very dark film, very twisted film, and Lawrence Harvey is the face of that movie. So very excited to know that he's going to be turning up.
Well, for me, because I was always a bit of a horror film fan, but I kind of tailed off when all the CGI started taking over. But I do remember a huge buzz around Human Centipede. People were sending each other the trailer, the footage. You've got to see this.
People who weren't even into horror films were talking about Human Centipede. So yeah, that's why I think it's so a part of the zeitgeist. And obviously the third film came out last week or 2 weeks ago. So yeah, he'll be there to talk about that as well.
Yeah, unless he's not got somebody else's rear end stitched to his face.
Let's
So,
hope.
let's hope that doesn't happen.
Depends on
But-
how well I run the event.
Yes. So other surprises that you might have in store for people, when they go down, what can we see? They're going to be stalls and so on.
Yeah, there's about 25 stalls in total with signings. There's going to be DVDs from Cult Screenings UK, who did the huge Hellraiser documentary, and there's also going to be artists, jewelers, basically anybody who works in or around the
And
horror
toys
genre.
as well. You've brought some of your collectibles in.
Toys as well, yes.
Give us a nice horror edge.
this is-
What have you brought in?
A small fraction of my Hellraiser collection. I mean, if Pinhead or any of the characters are attached to any of them, then I'll pretty much buy it. So this is the huge Hellraiser playset.
Yes, and you've got some of this signed, haven't you? What's
Yes,
this one in
that's,
particular?
an exclusive limited edition Chatter one, which is actually signed by Nicholas Vince, the actor.
Yeah, of course, our regular toy expert will say that if you sign the box, apparently it's not worth anything.
I beg to differ. I challenge him on this one.
Sentimental value.
Sentimental value, but also kind of like, it's not every day you get a chance to kind of like touch the thing that that your heroes have held.
Definitely. Great. Well, we've got to wrap up this section now.
Yeah.
But if we can direct people, we'll put the graphics along the bottom to Facebook, can we, for the Horror Festival?
Yes, go to the
We're
Facebook
both looking
page,
forward to it.
and all the details will be on there. And I look forward to seeing everyone there.
Great. Thanks, Ilan. Thanks, James, for coming in.
No problem.
Okay. We'll be back now with Abe, who's coming in to get his comic collection appraised. Welcome back to Heroes for Sale, where we've got Abe Matar in, who's going to take us through his comic collection, which he's brought us in for a bit of an appraisal, haven't you, Abe? Because you've been a long-time comic collector, and now you're looking to sadly have to sell them off.
Sadly grow up, yeah. I started buying them when I was in my teens, really just liked the artwork, liked the storylines, just really enjoyed reading them. Used to buy about 5 or 6 comic books a week, which worked out to be about 20 to 30 pounds. And it got to be an expense. So when you become older, expenses are things you have to take out of the equation.
Yeah. Well, I know you said you were going to sell them, and I was like, don't do it, Abe. Why would you? You're bound to be sad afterwards. But what is the reason that you've got to?
Just A, clearing up a bit of space, and B, making a bit of cash, really. I mean, I've got to go through the collection a little bit further and sort of see what's available and what's not
Are you
available.
sure it's not because you're getting married?
Yeah, that too. I mean,
she's drawn a line.
She hasn't drawn a line,
Yeah.
but obviously, it's just literally trying to make a bit of extra cash to start our lives together.
Yeah. And you've got how many comics you've brought in for us today? We've just got a smattering of them across the table.
I've got over 1,000, 1,500 more than that, maybe.
Yeah. And what's the period of time that you were buying them from, roughly?
So probably mid or early 90s till about 2012.
It's a nice long stretch.
Yeah.
And all bought in Liverpool?
No, not all bought in Liverpool. I grew up in the Middle East. I grew up in Abu Dhabi. And surprisingly, I can get comic books out there. Yeah. You can get comic books really in just like a supermarket over there. So just used to go in when Mum was shopping and just pick up a few. But when I came here, just the 2 main comic book shops in Liverpool, I went there and used to buy me ones here. So
worlds apart and
Forbidden Planet as well, yeah.
Or forbidden purchases, as some people call it around here. But yeah, so you've brought us in, and obviously you've got a nice, varied taste from DC to Marvel. Some of your favourite characters, obviously Green Lantern and The Flash, I've seen a lot of.
Yeah, Green Lantern, The Flash, and I do like a bit of Deadpool as well.
Okay, and obviously Deadpool's going to be soaring in value over the next half a year because the movie's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how many roughly would you say you've got them? You were buying them for a period of time?
Deadpool probably maybe around 100 to 200 maybe. It just depends. I really haven't gone through it enough to look and sort of figure it out exactly how many of each comic book I've got. Yeah. That's the painful part. Yeah,
that's going to be fun for you. But you've brought this one in here, which is like a bit of a parody on Scarface. Isn't it? The Scarface cover. And I think that's going to, when it came out, you would have paid, it says $2.99. But I think that could probably go for anything between £10 or £12 on eBay now.
Well, it depends on like any market, really. It depends on the need and the want. And obviously with the film coming out, I'm assuming the closer it gets to the time of the film, the more people will want to pay for things.
But I know people who are looking to offload their collections, it's a bit of a sore point, obviously, as we've said, but they also wonder, how can I do it? And you could go to a local second-hand comic shop, but you're not going to get near enough the same value because obviously they're going to have to sell them on. So it looks like eBay is going to be the way you're going to
Yeah, me and you were talking about it a little bit earlier, really, just looking at going on eBay and sort of popping them up either one at a time or in groups. So I'm just going to have to sort of go through them all first before I decide what to do. Because if you go online, really, you can sort of get a value for how much comic book's going to cost, how much it's going for.
But particularly movies are driving the interest in them and the collectability. So you've got, things like Civil War, and obviously with the new Marvel film.
That'll be coming out.
Yeah.
The new Captain America film starts it all off, I think.
And you've also got Doctor Strange. Now, I'm really drawn to this, so I might just buy all your Doctor Strange off here just because I'm weird and kinky. And, this is a particularly interesting comic that, is going to be made with a bit of a British feel, isn't it, as well? So,
well, yeah, you've got Benedict Cumberbatch who's going to be playing the main role in it. So it's one I'm going to be very curious to watch.
And Tilda Swinton, who's going to be the Ancient One, which is a bit of a weird twist.
Yeah. So I've got a few different angles coming out, but I think the thing about selling them is you've just got to sort of grit your teeth and bear it and sort of see what value you can get for more things. Depending on what people will be looking for online, and especially if you have a collection like the Civil War ones. I've got a set of them, so putting them all together and selling them together, I'm assuming, get me a little bit more than selling them individually.
Yeah, I think so. That's definitely the way to go. eBay's the way. And like I say, I'm just pleased that you brought them in so we could get first dibs. But good luck with it all, Abe. And you'll have to let us know how you get on.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks for coming in.
No problem.
Okay, we're coming back after the break with the section between the panels where we'll be looking into Fantastic Four and also Secret Wars. Welcome back to Heroes for Sale. It's the part of the show that we call Between the Panels, where we delve into the deeper world and understanding of comics that are out at the moment. And we've got the ongoing saga of Secret Wars today. I'm rejoined again by Ilan and also Lewis of the Matchstick Men and a big comic buff. Secret Wars, chaps, it's a major event. Yes. Where are you up to with it? How are you feeling it's going?
I'm enjoying some of it, but as I say, I've got my favourites. But yeah, at the moment, I've stopped reading the actual main event until I've got a few more issues, because it's just getting far too confusing. The actual, as I said before, my favourite, I think I mentioned last time as well, is Secret Wars 2099. That by far is the strongest one. I had my reservations about it at first because the artwork sort of, it reminds me of sort of 90s Ron Lim, that sort of thing, but that's not a bad thing. But when you've got someone like Mike Deodato doing Guardians of Nowhere, and the artwork and the inking is fantastic. You see the front cover, similar sort of vein. You open it and it's really blocky, no shading, anything like that. And at first I had to get past that before I started reading the actual comic.
Yeah, so you've got mixed reviews yourself then on it. So you're enjoying the tie-ins. I think a few people are enjoying the tie-ins a little bit more than the main title at the moment.
They are definitely. But as I say, with this one, it was once I got past the blockiness, and as I think, as you may know already, the whole thing's about like corporation. It's like there's Alchemax or something like that. It's basically they're the company that own the Avengers. Once I started getting into the story, I kind of realised maybe the blockiness was on purpose, because it's sort of, full reds and things like that. So it was more trying to get like a corporate feel to the story. So I kind of got into it after that, and it is really, really good. Yeah.
Well, the enjoyable thing about it is if you've read the original Secret Wars, it takes it in a totally new direction. Yes, and it also pays homage to that, but also the main title and then the Battle World spin-offs, you can see what was possible with that. And I thought they'd done too many, because obviously we talk about Marvel Zombies as well, which is like, a big thing for you. Yeah. Marvel Zombies, isn't it? You've liked that title in the past, and you just think, how could they revisit that? But it's going well. One also paying homage to it, my favourite title at the moment is Deadpool's Secret Wars, which is imagining that Deadpool was there all along, behind the scenes kind of thing, and he's taking the mickey a lot with the secret shields, just like the action figures and everything. But yeah, who do you think's going to win out? Because obviously we've got also the Planet Hulk, one that I've picked up the first issue on, and that's good because they've got kind of like Captain America reimagined, going to fight a load of Hulks. But who do you think's going to win out of this whole Battle World scenario?
See, that's the thing. I think they've given us a few spoilers because I know that if you're online, that it's showing you that Falcon is still Captain America at the end of all this. But then you've got the old Steve Rogers. I've seen images of that. I think there's both Spider-Mans. I know that.
Yeah,
So
they're
so
currently both in the main Secret Wars
Yeah,
title.
so-
Aren't they? But you'd like to see some of them get killed off because I know you were saying how can the Marvel zombies survive?
I mean, obviously I love the Marvel zombies, but I mean, I don't know how they can't really exist in the overall universe. If they're only going to stick to one universe and this is the only thing that exists, you can't have a Marvel zombie because they're basically an end game. I think we've seen too many scenarios where it's just, that's just too crazy.
Yeah.
It's
They
impossible.
seem to be just containing the rest of Secret Wars. They're beyond this thing called the shield, aren't they? And, you know, the people get thrown over the side as torture to the zombies.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that I suppose I am excited about this, and at the same time I'm wary of Secret Wars, is that there was moments that I read in the Ultimate Universe where I thought it was just completely game-changing for me, and I absolutely loved it. Like when Reed Richards turned out to be a villain, which I thought was one of the greatest reveals. And then it kind of the Ultimate Universe started fading off for me, and they started losing the plot. And now, he's back, and I believe he's still back in it. And I'd love for that to be the official Reed Richards, but that's not going to happen.
No. That's a good segue into the other thing we've got to talk about here on Between the
yeah, I
Panels,
just
which is
saw
the
it there.
preview into the Fantastic Four movie,
Yes.
which is out in the start of August the 6th, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, I think a lot of fans have got mixed views on that. A lot of angry backlash online towards Michael B. Jordan playing Human Torch. What do you think?
See, I just think, sometimes you've got to let things go. Sometimes, I think we were discussing before, it's, the comic fan and with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you've kind of got to just realise it's a film at the end of the day. Obviously, it's going to be really confusing for new fans, but sometimes you've just got to go with the flow, and I think everybody just needs to do that with that.
They're looking to entertain a whole new audience,
Exactly,
really, aren't they?
exactly.
They're going to make changes.
Yeah, like I ended up watching the old ones the other day, and I actually enjoyed them. I think mainly because they're so focused at kids. It's like such kids films.
It's got a cartoonish feel to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, Chris Evans is playing Human Torch in that as well. So more controversy always surrounding Human Torch.
Exactly.
Doctor Doom, that's something that he's always been one of my favourite characters. I'm not sure I'm looking forward to the film because they seem to have reimagined him in a bit of a weird way, where there's talk of him being an internet blogger. Seems a bit wild because he's got to have some kind of mastery of the occult, and I don't think the internet gives you that, does it? But
But how else are you going to realise him without sounding completely crazy? When you're pitching this storyline to somebody who's not a huge kind of Fantastic Four buff, how do you explain alternative universes? Because is that how they're getting it? Is it going to be
they're getting it
not the
powers,
Phantom Realm? Well, anyway, you can't explain that to somebody and then simultaneously say, also the occult is there. I mean, they always say that an audience will believe one thing. You tell me something, I'll believe that. But if you say, oh, well, also this exists, then that's crazy. So an internet blogger seems relevant. I'd be interested to see how Doctor Doom kind of fleshes out a bit more than that, though.
Okay, that's it. That's pretty much all we've got time for on Between the Panels this week. But yeah, Fantastic Four. We'll see how it pans out. Thanks for joining me today, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hello, we're here now with Elliot Chinnick, one of the ACBA members of a community that started in New York, which is all about creating unique imagery using action figures. And so, you've come in today, haven't you, Elliot, from the wilds of Merseyside somewhere?
Yep.
Well, you're from Bootle, aren't you, originally?
Yeah, born and bred.
And so how did you get into this as a movement?
Well, I think it started with most people where it was comic books and reading comic books, and then for me, growing up, I was always collecting action figures, and it just didn't stop really. I constantly got action figures throughout my life. And then just looking at reviews of figures and things that I would buy, I found ACBA, which is Articulated Comic Book Art. And it was something to do with all these figures that I've been buying over the years, and it was, creating photography and art, and I'm a graphic designer myself, so it was perfect for what I was into.
I think I've said to you before, it seems to me like it's a perfect excuse to carry on collecting figures and to be able to play with them as you get older.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Girlfriends, mums, they have to listen to it, don't they? And especially though, when you see some of the artwork that you guys create on your community Facebook threads and websites.
I sell mine in shops as well. Like, it's not just a little geeky hobby. Like, I actually, put my work out there, and it's nice.
They're very dynamic works of art in their own right, aren't they? I've seen some of them, and you create motion. Today, you've brought in the Fantastic Four, because obviously we've had a preview for the film.
Coming out.
And this is what we'd call just a straight up team pose, is it?
Yeah, just a team shot, yeah, of, you know, this is like ACBA in its most basic form, so a lot of us started with just a paper backdrop, and, you know, it doesn't matter how it looks at the top or it looks...
This is all very Blue Peter,
it's
isn't it, at
all-
the moment? A bit
yeah, because if
ramshackle.
you do anything to get the shot right, so like you can see these little stands sticking out and there's some back here and there's a big bike light, but in the actual shot, you won't see any of that, and it you know, once you contain it and crop it, it's perfect.
Yeah, and so the inspiration comes from comic book imagery, covers or whatever. So right here, you can imagine this would be a panel where they're facing off against the supervillain, and that's where these speech bubbles come from, which is all handmade. We've got to say that, haven't we? The whole ethos of it is
They're called
everything.
cutouts, and they are what they say on the tin. They're cut out of the comic books. Yeah, and then you just go around with a black marker to make sure they've got that black edge, and then stick them on. And you stick them on with like bits of cheese wax.
Yeah, cheese wax is the most pliable of materials.
It surprisingly is, and it doesn't mark the figures. That's the main bit. It doesn't mark
That's something that's been surprising. Obviously, I've been following your work in this for some time now, and you are ranked number 8th in the world, isn't that right?
Yeah, and yeah, 2nd in the UK.
'Cause you have championships in these things in ACBA,
Yeah,
and so you have to enter in a series of photographs.
yeah.
But one thing that's always surprised me, other people have said, is like, well, you know, it just looks like it's been CGI'd, that, or why don't you, you know, use Photoshop or whatever? But that's completely against
That's
the
like
rules.
cheating, innit? It's like, as long as it's tangible and it's all there and it works, then that's the skill behind it, because anyone could just Photoshop something in. And I think that's the big problem as well, because anyone can think they can just Photoshop anything in. And that's where you get really like naff shots, really. Like it's better to have it all tangible. And it's better in your work because more craft's gone into it than like most things. So.
Yeah, I imagine this could be quite mind-blowing for some kids at home watching, because they think they've got their favourite action figures and everything. How would you encourage a complete beginner to get involved with ACBA?
Just take your favourite figure, get some craft paper like where I've got here, and just keep taking pictures and practicing. Like a lot of the skill is in the photography as well. So you learn a lot of photography skills and then you can use them.
And you can just use your smartphone or whatever,
Yeah,
mobile phone these
definitely,
days,
yeah,
can't
yeah.
you?
I use my phone for a lot of the work, to be honest. But yeah, that's the best way, is just keep taking pictures and keep trying new things, and go to the Facebook group and get advice from people that do it. Like I've been doing it 4 or 5 years now. And like I'm always on hand. There's a big team that are,
Community, isn't it?
yeah. There's over like 10,000 likes on Facebook now. The community's got, and it's huge,
Yeah,
ever
it's
growing.
It's a movement. And I think that's near enough all the time we've got for today. But thank you for giving us an introduction to ACBA. And I think you'll come on in future weeks and we can have like a tutorial about doing some more detailed work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Motion and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Elliot.
Brilliant, no worries.
And again, thank you for tuning in to Heroes for Sale. Please do come back next week for more comic and geeky goodness. For extra videos, you can check us out online. Search YouTube, Heroes for Sale, Liverpool.
Who shot ya?